I think Malik is a boxing genius. He hasn't been put to the test as a trainer yet, but I know he's a boxing genius up here. So, yeah, that's what I think. I think it's going to be a really good fight, and I'll take Fury to still win this fight at the end of the day. So.
Having never seen Malik Scott as right, having never seen Malik Scott as a coach, why do you say genius?
I've seen him talk about boxing on his Instagram lives. He'll share footage of Ray Robinson. He knows his shit. He knows his shit. He's watched all the greats. The man fought almost 35 times as a professional. He won every fight except for one, against Wilder. He knows boxing. He knows boxing, and he's a details-oriented guy. When he's watching Sugar Ray Robinson from back in the day, he's not just, look at that 10-punch combination like someone like me might get. He's looking at, look at how he separated him with his left hand and placed him to the right just a little bit to get him where he wants. Little things like that. Don't beat me up, Anthony. Don't mind me touch. But he is a great boxer. But Deontay hasn't had any fights to try this stuff out at. It's one thing in the gym. It's one thing in sparring. Valdez, he may be, he has the controversy lately, but he had those tough 3 fights with Reynoso. And then it all came together in time for Burchell, right? But in order to have that great fight against Burchell, he had those growing pains. He was allowed to fight lesser competition to work on things. And Deontay hasn't been afforded that luxury. So that, along with the mentality of both fighters, I think Fury's hey, you're a pro. There's no excuses at this level, but I do think he's not quite as up for this fight as before. That's not gonna work as an excuse after the fight if he gets knocked out. But that in combination with Deontay being as focused as he can be, it's just a lot of excitement heading into this fight,
Interesting. I'll never forget my first 2 fights. Neither of those fights went 1 minute, done. And then my third fight, I was getting on this guy in the first round and put him down twice in the first round. And my dad looked over at me and he said, slow down. I looked at my dad like, what? Made it through that round. And I got back to the corner and my dad said, listen, we need to get some rounds in. We're going to work on some things. And my dad could tell by my face that I wasn't having that. My dad said, let's do it now. He said, I'm not going to be able to ask you to do this in another 10 fights. He said, let's do it now. And he got me to pull back a little bit on everything that I was going to do to work on some things, the growing pains. Now, third round, he was like, all right, do what you got to do. But he understood that if you don't have anything, if you don't establish that foundation early, then that foundation may never be there for you. So you got all of us. We turn pro and we're fighting guys with 0-4 records or 2-5 or whatever the case may be. And in these case, that right hand was just too much for everybody. So majority of his fights, he never got a chance to learn anything. He never got the type of resistance that forced him to try to think to use anything else. The first fight was his fight against Deverne, and everybody says that he boxed in that fight. Why can't he box now the way he did in that fight? That fight, it was on the fly. He figured out, wow, I'm not gonna knock this dude out. I got to do something else. And then he got right back to the knocking out. And it just, his career has gone the way that it's gone. You're not a jogbar. You don't get those opportunities to work on things in the actual fights. You know what I mean? So great point. Malik Scott sounds to be a great coach. I saw a little bit of them working together. I'm like, looks pretty damn good to me. But it's one thing to do it in training. It's another thing to bring it to the fight. The energy's different. The emotion's different, so on and so forth. So I'm really interested to see how this fight plays out. This is what I saw from watching the first 2 fights. Clearly, if you give Deontay Wilder room to think, room to breathe, he will be a surgeon and he will go and knock you out. Tyson Fury has to figure out a way to do both. Be aggressive and assertive, but then pick your spots, because if you're too aggressive and assertive with this dude who feels very violent right now, you're gonna get hurt. And on the other side of that, find ways to create the room and the space that you need to box and do the things that you need to do without taking too many chances. So it's a pick 'em fight, and I love that we can say that about a trilogy.
And look at a lot of people are looking back to the second fight, rightfully so. It was the last one. But if you look back to the first one, so if we look at that Deontay Wilder, if you add some boxing, because in that fight, without those knockdowns, he loses. And so it's something where...
Never thought it was out of the question that he won, too, by the way.
Yeah,
people really acted like this was some robbery in the first fight. I didn't think so.
And if you think about it that way, even if Deontay adds some of these boxing abilities and wins around here, around there, and picks up those rounds and can still knock him down...
Right. He wins.
It gives Deontay, because with that, in that first fight, he was working with such a limited margin for error. If he didn't knock him down, there wasn't an ability to bank rounds because he just wasn't. Tyson Fury was just outboxing him for those rounds.
Right.
And so I think when he adds that boxing ability, I think it gives him, okay, I didn't knock him down, I didn't hurt him, I didn't knock him out, but I won the round because I've added some of these intricacies, like you said. Malik Scott coming up with some ideas as far as the boxing. So
another funny thing is this might be the first time we're looking forward to a fight that Deontay Wilder's in, and we're wondering if he can win rounds.
Yeah,
you go to a fight thinking that if he doesn't win rounds, it was the Cuban
Luis Ortiz.
He stopped trying to win them a long time ago.
Yeah, he stopped trying to win them a long time ago. Like he fed that line to himself, and even though I appreciate the line, I salute the line. That's not what boxing truly is at its essence. And boxing at its essence is more than power.
I get that, but it's tough.
I know
not to.
I know.
No, and
when you're talking about
he was losing rounds, but he was setting up his knockout.
Yeah, and
to his credit.
And then it's tough to be like, yeah, I really should worry about winning these rounds, but like, okay, fine.
It's like when you get to that top level, it's just like right now is when he needed all that boxing. He should have got rounds in.
Yeah.
He should have actually tried and gave a little more effort. Because out of the 19 rounds of boxing, he may have won 4. I think Fury got all the rest of the rounds. It was a bunch of, I think, 8 rounds in a couple of those.
I hate math. So I'm rolling with you, though.
Yeah. So
I hear what you're saying.
In my heart, I want Wilder to win, man. American. He black.
I mean, if I was a fan and wasn't covering it, USA. So,
I mean, but I don't know, man. I wish he would have. Malik Scott. I feel Malik Scott is better than his former team.
Yeah.
Who's the guy? JD, no disrespect,
Jay
man.
is still there.
He's still there. Is probably number 2. But I feel like Malik Scott he's been there. He's done it. He can give him much as he can, prepare him for this. I feel like it's a great person to be in your corner. I wish he could get a fight, man.
And even, take a look. You got Mark Breland in your corner. It's no secret he's one of the greatest amateur fighters of all time from the United States. I think he's like, a lot of people say he's number 1, but he's easily top 3, which is just crazy. But when it comes to coaching and it comes to delivering what's in here to someone else, the greatest may not be able to do it the way that other people are able to do it. You know what I mean? So
I think that's important to note because people are saying that there's like
a lot of
you have Malik Scott. Who cares? You have Mark Breland. You can speak on that because it's how you receive it.
Yeah,
I could be the smartest guy in the room and I tell you something.
Malik's a much more expressive guy. And Mark Breland's very low, so you gotta squint down to here.
They seem to be very close. Malik and Deontay, I think they've been close for years. So I mean, it's just like if we don't mesh, it's not a fault of his or of his.
Yeah.
Sometimes it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
And that's not to say that's why he lost these fights or anything like that. But like you get a guy in there now.
Yeah.
You clearly have a chemistry and rapport with.
Yeah.
That also has that boxing ability and that knowledge. So
it's just like raising your kids. One of your kids probably can't deal with the yelling, or the other one, it needs the yelling.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those things. Like maybe this is a perfect, like you guys say, this is a perfect relationship.
Yeah.
This may be the thing that fix it. And I would love to see these guys go on a 5-year run, just clipping people, boxing the hell out of them and clipping them.
what if Deontay?
Don't feed me that, man.
When we talked about it last week, what if Deontay?
I got hype like, what?
What if he just goes in there and just outboxes Tyson Fury for 12 rounds?
That'd be shocking. I don't think so.
Hey, Malik Scott.
Is that the most surprising result?
Yeah, the most surprising result would be Deontay Wilder by decision.
Malik Scott is Freddie Roach.
Yeah, Malik Scott, trainer. If he wins, he's trainer of the year. Based on if he outboxes him for 12 rounds.
Don't speak Kenny Porter like that.
Yeah, well, he'll be trainer of the year until Shawn wins.
Oh yeah.
Listen, somebody asked me, they said, you know, if Deontay Wilder is able to pull off this victory, how much of that do you contribute to Malik Scott? I'm like,
a lot.
Yeah, a lot.
What did we do when Tyson Fury got the knockout? We said Sugar Hill this, Sugar Hill that.
Oh damn, I forgot about Sugar Hill.
I said we got to do the same thing for Malik Scott. I said, guess what? If
he surpassed them for a few months there.
Yeah, if Deontay gets this win, how he gets this win, we will clearly be able to see what effect Malik Scott had in determining the outcome of the fight. What's up? I'm Showtime Shawn Porter.
I'm Ant. Follow me on IG with 2 T's. Let's do it. Let's do it again. All right.
Just introduce yourself.
Okay.
And then you tell them what to do. I'm Showtime Shawn Porter.
I'm Anthony Brenagh.
Carson A. Merk. Like, subscribe, comment.
This is the Porter Way.